Thank you, Speaker. My question this morning is to the Minister for Primary Industries. Minister, in regional Tasmania, fuel's not an option. People have no alternative but drive long distances for school and for services. I acknowledge that your government has assured us that overall fuel supply is secure, and that's great news and has to be a priority going forward. But in terms of support for Tasmanians who are already being impacted, your government has a role to play. What specific state-based support are you providing to regional communities who are being hit hardest by rising fuel costs?
Honourable Minister for Primary Industries and Water.
Thanks, Speaker, and I appreciate the question. It's certainly at the front of mind. In fact, this morning I zoomed into the Tas Farmers AGM. It was a question on many of those farmers' lips, the uncertainty of what the conflict in the Middle East has provided them and the fallout of that. What we are doing specifically is working with those industry groups. We need to know what their reaction to that contact is going to be. We need to know what planting alternate arrangements they're going to make. We need to know basically what is the real hurt for them as they change their farming methodologies moving forward to compensate for this, because we know that farmers, agricultural sector and all those in that industry are an adaptive bunch. If they've got a problem in front of them, instead of whinging about it, they normally farm around it and they find an alternative. That's the stage we're up to. We need to know what the actual hurt is so that we can apply measures to that hurt and answer some of their questions. In terms of not only fuel but fertiliser, it's a similar scenario. We've seen in 10 days an entire year's worth of an amount of fertiliser in the form of urea has been sold through Pivot.
Are you going back on what you said yesterday?
Order.
No, I'm not going back on what I'm saying yesterday. What I am saying is we need to know the hurt. I don't have a crystal ball. You may have one, I don't. What we're trying to do is to work with our farmers, and because they're a sensible bunch, they'll come up with suggestions. They'll come up with where they need to be in terms of fuel.
Sensible than the government.
Honourable Deputy Leader of the Opposition, you've asked a question. I ask the Minister to be heard.
And that's an important point, Speaker. Being heard. That's what I'm doing at the moment. That's what we're doing at the moment. We're listening to exactly that reaction from the agricultural sector and where they're going to go. Once that happens, then we'll put measures in place that will answer that need, that will satisfy that change in direction. But in terms of specifics, crystal ball gazing, I can't do that. I won't do that. If in terms of the question was asked of me, that I refer back to that AGM this morning, where do I see the price in another month? Well, that's an impossible thing to answer. We need to be sensible. We need to be, as a government, as a parliament, we need to be the adults in the room. We need to be listening to our constituents. And I welcome information that comes back from your constituency, back to this place, back to me and other ministers, because that is going to be vital as we put a plan together. An adult plan, a plan that will work, a practical plan, a plan that will give...
Supplementary. Speaker.
Well said.
Minister, state governments all around the country have already taken action. They are already implementing state-based responses. As always, your government is slow to act. It is great that you're listening, but you kick the can down the road on action. My supplementary question is, what are you doing for state-based support for people in the regions who are already being hit hard by fuel shortages and price increases?
Honourable Minister for Primary Industries and Water.
I'll reiterate on what I've already said. We are listening at this stage. In fact, with the Acting Minister for Energy highlighted to this House only yesterday of the way in which he's engaging with industry. He mentioned, and I'll quote him, when he said that he had 10 or 15 in the first meeting, and was I right in saying 40 in the second meeting?
In the third meeting.
In the third meeting, as you were. that's where we're at, gathering that information. And, you know, while you're slinging insults, it's the federal government that probably should have gotten off their backside a little earlier.
State governments around the country are already in action.
Order.
Grandstanding.
Order. The Honourable Deputy Speaker has the call.